Well, fellas, the first victory of the Archie Miller era. We can put this in the book, 74-64, with a Rhode Island victory today. Abu, I want to start with you. I know you were at the game. You also were at the presser. But what did you see today? What did you like? Just to throw out some numbers, obviously Thomas, a double-double, 10 assists, 13 points. Martin had 12. Leggett, 9 rebounds, 18 points. Then obviously Lou as well, 15 points off the bench. But what's your instant reaction and what you got from the presser, Abu?
Well, some of those players had to play really heavy minutes. I think the players were definitely relaxed at the presser, having won their first game. I think they also really have a good perspective on themselves in relationship to their teammates and in relationship to the team. And so Archie has to have really begun to build very, very good culture there. And he's got some guys who are really thinking about how they fit into this team and what they're trying to accomplish in their roles. So that was very, very good to hear, especially a guy like Sebastian Thomas, as you mentioned, 10 assists, in this game, wound up with 13 points, finally hit some free throws. But he really ran the team tonight. And Archie mentioned that as well, that felt so good about the point guard play and the fact that Sebastian Thomas really directed this team. He really ran them, and he made other guys better. And I think I mentioned even before that with Brayon Freeman, if you want to see him also be able to do that and make other players better. So Sebastian Thomas was a great model for that tonight.
Definitely. And Dave, obviously Abu just mentioned obviously Bray. That was a big issue. It has been the first two games, but obviously going into this game, he did not play. I know, Archie had cleared that up a little bit. I know you had felt a little better in terms of hearing Archie Miller's, post-game press conference, but kind of your thoughts on the Bray Freeman situation.
Yeah, I mean, first it was a bit of a shock to see pregame that they were already announcing that a guy wasn't going to play and it wasn't injury related. I mean, normally you don't see that. It's kind of out of the normal. But yeah, I mean, Archie's postgame, really had a nice perspective on it. He said, we need to get him right. He's going to be a really important piece for us moving forward. He was on the same page with us. So it sounds like the staff is really working for him, and I think a lot of URI fans were expecting, because he played in the A10 before, because he was third team preseason, that he was just going to come in and light it up. But we need to remember that this is a new team. It's a new coach. It's a different offense than they were running at GW. So it is going to take him time, just because this is a conference he's familiar with, that it's only going to get him so much. So it's part of the process. I trust Archie. I trust Bray. It sounds like everyone is aligned, and we're going to see him in the Caymans next weekend, or a Monday, I guess, a week from now almost. So I'm super pumped to see what he can bring to the table after this kind of reset.
Definitely. And we've talked about, in the first, couple episodes, and just, in general, this is a rebuild. Isn't always about the wins and losses, but I think, you spoke to kind of the relief you saw, Boo, at the press conference, but, I think a win was needed, and it's good. Kids respond better when you see your work and you see a win on the floor, something like that. And it was great to see, Leggett in particular, Abu, I did want to talk about Leggett a little bit. He has consistently now kind of been the go-to scorer for the Rams. We saw this potential freshman year. I think sophomore year, he had some ups and downs. But really to see him flourish right now, what have you seen out of Leggett that you've liked?
Well, exactly that. He's flourishing. He's playing inside and out. He's getting into the basket, playing good defense. He just looks very, very comfortable. And he's playing with a confidence right now. And he's playing effectively. He's been very efficient. He can improve on his shot, and he is a little streaky as far as that's concerned, but he plays so hard. He's able to get to the basket. He makes some acrobatic shots on the inside, sometimes going to the hoop. And you just love to see that from a guy who returns. Also with Hassan Martin, I'm sorry,
Malik.
I'm thinking of his brother
That's all
Malik
right.
Martin. Here are two guys who decided to return, and they had to look at it this way. Here's an opportunity for us to be leaders on this team and to play at a high level, and they're both contributing greatly. And you can see, and one of the things that also happened in the presser was Ishmael Leggett talking about the freshmen and how hard they are working and encouraging them to continue. And that was really good to see. In particular, Lou Hutchinson was in the presser, and he's focused on him specifically, talking about how hard he was working. So these guys are providing leadership, but they're also doing it on the floor in terms of them producing.
Definitely. And, you mentioned obviously Hutchinson had a great game, and he, even in the limited minutes, the first two games, he's shown that promise, a guy with a huge upside. I know, Dave, if you want to talk a little bit about what you've seen with Lou and also, Sam as well. Again, 7 boards, 8 points, just, redshirt freshman who's just doing work down low. And it's great to see.
Yeah, great game from Lou. When Stony Brook was in his zone, he was kind of posted at the foul line. He was moving the ball around. He was hitting that foul line jumper, taking and hitting that foul line jumper when when it presented itself. 6 of 8 shooting. I've really liked what I've seen from him, and I've really liked what I've seen from. You mentioned Sam. He's been great. Chiku, tonight really wasn't his night, only 9 minutes. Same thing with Rory Stewart, only 5 minutes, but those guys are promising too. And, tonight, Sam and Hutchinson impressed. Maybe next game it's Stewart and Chiku, it's going to be matchup based, things like that. But those 4 guys, the 4 new faces really, along with Weston, who had a really nice game. Only 4 points tonight, but a lot of really nice hustle plays, heady basketball plays. So, these guys, it's their first year with this team. It's their first time playing college basketball, really. So for us to already start seeing things 3 games in and seeing the maturation and the improvement, it only bodes well moving forward.
Yeah. No, I
And
agree.
the
Yeah,
thing about Lou Hutchinson, of course, is as you mentioned, he was in the middle of that zone. He's a good mid range player, but he also slid out to the 3-point line.
yeah.
He was 2 out of 3 from the 3-point line. He just shot the ball with a lot of confidence.
Definitely. And I think Archie had mentioned this in the presser, and something I saw, in terms of a tighter rotation. And obviously, I think everyone is going to, any basketball player, if you played basketball, the more time you get on the floor, obviously that's going to help you. And I did see that. I think the first 2 games, and this is going to still happen in terms of trying to find, all right, what's the rotation going to look like? Teaching points, pulling guys 3-4 minutes. I really believe this game, and part of it because they had to, because of the guys missing, they were able to play and get a flow together, which I thought was great to see. What are a couple things that you're looking, and I can start with you, Dave, that you're looking for kind of that next step, continued improvement, whether it be, the game itself or any specific player?
Yeah, I did find that the second half against Texas State, they played much better. They played much better tonight. So, and that's not always going to be linear either, but I am looking for those incremental steps, the younger guys to start maturing more, getting more comfortable with their teammates and within the flow of this offense. So it's going to be tougher against some tougher opponents in the Caymans, but I do think we're going to see it, and hopefully by Atlantic 10 play, we'll have a much better understanding of this team than we do now.
Definitely. And then last word, Abu.
You have a team coming off a win, guys feeling a little bit more confident about their ability to play at this level. And as Archie said, if he can get Bray into the fold a little bit, now you bring in a guy who has great ability. So you just want them to be competitive. You want them to play hard the way that they have, but you also want them to go in there and be confident. And so this win tonight gives them at least that.